Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you invest in stock market?
Me? I don't.
Why?
We are into COVID times now.
Okay.
I initially thought of investing in the year 2012.
Okay, then what happened?
US fiscal cliff,
2013?
Federal Reserve stimulus.
14?
14 was the year when the oil prices plunged.
Okay, stop. 2015, maybe Chinese market sell-off.
Yeah.
2016, maybe US election.
Correct.
Or Brexit.
Exactly.
Then what is the right time to invest, man?
Well, I'm not the right person to answer that question, but we do have with us a set of people, 4 wizards of the Dalal Street, to answer this question and probably any questions that come up in stock market.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most awaited session of the evening. Bull charge, will it last? The panel discussion is moderated by Ajay. Can we have the profile, please? Ajaya is news editor, markets at ET Now, and has been part of the founding team of ET Now. He loves tracking markets and finding what makes companies successful. He's a big foodie and loves traveling, but due to COVID, is fully grounded. He has been a business journalist for 1.5 decades. Welcome, Ajaya, to the panel discussions. Next, can we have the intro video of C. Ramdeo Agrawal?
For your information, sirs, the audiences are listening to the video and they're watching it. Sir, please mute.
The next panelist of today's show is Mr. Madhusudan Kela. Team, can we have the intro video, please? The third panelist for the day is CA Pankaj Murarka. Can we have the intro video, please? Over to you, Mr. Ajay.
Right. Thank you very much, the Abu Dhabi chapter of ICAI for arranging and hosting this wonderful chat. I always enjoy chatting with these three luminaries of the market with whom they are regular contributors on ET Now, our channel. And I have personally learned with for almost 1.5 decades. And in fact, as they say in Hindi, pratyaksh praman ki zarurat nahi hoti hai. So Madhu, Ramdev and Pankaj in the last so many decades have actually, walked the talk, and they're not only practitioners of investing, but great human beings, and I've learned personally a lot. So I'm sure in the next 1 hour, you guys will really learn a lot from their rich experience. Today, the theme of the discussion is bull run raging. Will it last? So let me start by with Madhu. Madhu, you've seen many cycles, right? Between the three of you, almost 2.5 to 3.5 decades each. Every cycle, is different, and there is time, shelf life of this, as they say. Are we in a young bull market right now, or is it already reached the stage of raging? Because at least I find a lot of skeptics still there. What are your initial thoughts on the stage of the cycle, of the market cycle?
So, Ajay, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, the Abu Dhabi chapter, for having me here. It will be a fantastic hour of discussion with Ajay. So, I would say that, if you have to score a century, we have not yet scored the half century, if that answers the question. As I say, this is still a very pretty much young bull market. If you see, markets were 12,000, and then this COVID happened, and then suddenly the world thought that the world is going to be different, and it is going to collapse, and this COVID is going to take a long time for the recovery. And we suddenly went to 7,500. And the markets are looking more normal now. I think COVID is now got more acceptable, and people know that while we sympathize with with so many people who are dying, but it is not threatening for the existence of the world. So you have basically come from 12,000 to 12,700 in last 12, 18 months. But that's about broadly about Nifty a day. But if you look at below Nifty, there are so many companies, there are so many sectors which, in my opinion, are at a very early stage of a bull market, and I would think they have a really long way to go before we say that this bull will get tired.
Right, fair point. Ramdev, an honest admission. In March, April, were you also shaken, given the fact that you have seen so many cycles, and even me personally, you've told me how many times the business and your morale, everything rose from the ashes, and again you continued the journey. Were you quite badly shaken yourself, the way market got into a grip of a massive correction?
Ajay, I was a bit surprised, not shaken, in the sense that this COVID thing, it was very difficult to understand. It was a healthcare problem, health issue, and that because of lockdown and all, it got transformed into economic issue, and it was very global. None of the countries were spared. So the breadth and the seriousness of the problem was pretty deep, but it was not economic problem. It was not business cycle issue. So, but then I have seen three booms and busts. Booms are irrational and the bust is equally irrational or even more irrational. So in 92, we saw Harshad Mehta bull run, and then it collapsed. 2000, we saw dot-com bull run, again collapsed. 2008, we saw the global credit boom and then collapsed. And now this was the fourth one for me. So I had a little feeling that, yes, it is going to collapse, but I didn't know that it is going to happen so quickly. And but once it collapsed, good that collapsing got over, and the fear was bigger than the COVID itself. So I was pretty reconciled to kind of a 50-60% drop both time in my portfolio. So I was pretty reconciled. Of course, you don't feel good, but
Sure.
I was reconciled.
Did you manage to any degree, Did you manage to benefit from that? Did you, in the 5 or 10% vicinity of the exact bottom, did you manage to buy the dip?
Ajay, unfortunately, I was always running a 100% invested portfolio. So I went down with the full load, and good thing that I didn't sell anything on the way. And I was 100% invested. In fact, one or two weak companies, weak banks and all, we changed over to slightly better one. But I was 100% invested. In fact, the what portfolio went down was slightly lower in quality, and what came up was a much better quality as per my estimates.
Sure. Pankaj, tell us your experience. The reason is that we have to take a step back to understand the situation and understand the environment so that we can discuss the way forward. I will not use the word forecasting because in market forecasting doesn't apply, but intelligent analysis and probability analysis is possible. You tell me, you've been you've been working at some of the most wonderful places to work for, including rare enterprises in your rich career, and now a profession, you're running your own outfit, managing other people's money. So did you get a lot of calls of what's happening, what happens to your portfolio, this, that? Tell us your experience.
Sure, Ajay. So quite candidly, I was completely numbed and shell-shocked when this whole crisis was unfolding, because as investors in my last 22 years of experience, I've dealt with a handful of financial crises, and I've read about many more of them in books, but I had never read about financial crisis, because the last one we saw was a century back. So I think in that sense, 2020 is really a historical year, because I don't think so anyone alive has seen a healthcare crisis. Yeah, but I think having said that, I must say it might sound a bit odd, but I must say that I turned complete 180-degree on markets quite early in the cycle, right in April. And for me, the trigger point, actually, if you really ask me, was the actions by the US Fed. Because when I really saw that, meaning all the programs that they announced cumulatively, all of that added up to much more than what they did in the last 10 years, since the global financial crisis of 2008 until we embarked on this crisis. So the kind of firepower that the US Fed unleashed, meaning what they did in last 10 years was something like about $4.5 trillion of liquidity. And in this April, they announced something like $7.5, $8 trillion in terms of what they were willing to put on the table. So it was very clear that the Fed is there out there to bail all investors and businesses out there, because they don't want to deal with the consequences of the crisis. And for me, that was the turning point. It took quite a bit of courage, because initially in April, I think there was a very high degree of skepticism around. But I think gradually, as people started getting better understanding of the whole crisis, I think the mood started turning far more positive. So I think I completely agree with Madhu, and Ramdev is always bullish. I know he doesn't take market calls, but I completely agree with Madhu that this bull market is very nascent. We are in a very early stage of this bull market. More importantly, apart from market cycles and economic cycles, I think what this year really tells us is this year marks the triumph of science and humanity. Because historically, all of us know as healthcare analysts that it takes anywhere between 5 to 8 years to produce a new drug or a new molecule. If a handful of pharma companies globally can produce a vaccine in a matter of 10 months or 12 months, I think that's really incredible. That effectively tells us that any future health crisis cannot be as threatening to the world and the society and humanity as this has been, because as human beings, we have triumphed over healthcare crisis. So I don't think so the world will ever see healthcare crisis going forward, because the pharma companies know now how to deal with it. Just to give you a context, AIDS is a disease. It's been around for more than 2 decades, and we still don't have a vaccine for it. And we have a vaccine, we are very close to having a vaccine for COVID, which is just about 10 months or a year old.
I think the urgency for this one was way higher. In fact, I was also talking to my family just this afternoon that usually takes 5 years average. This one, so many companies are coming out with, and the visibility for vaccine is there, which gives hope. That is way stronger than the vaccine itself. Madhu, let's get your take on how did you come to grips with what's happening. And see, in your earlier avatar, very long, you get a good, rich experience of managing other people's money at different places, and of course running organizations. Now it's a family office and completely skin in the game. How did you tackle? When did you get more grip on the situation or started looking for attractive ideas? Or tell us your experience last 6 months.
So I think Pankaj stole some of my words, because when we saw this liquidity, the market, at the end of the day, it is all about money on the table. And if the money on the table is so large, if you're talking of $7-8 trillion of money, and this was also supported this time, I think RBI in India has done an incredible job in terms of handling the crisis. Along with the government, they pumped in so much money, and you see, and the effect of that you are seeing, Ajay, even today. So I think early on, only maybe in April, May, one became very sanguine that yes, this crisis of COVID may last, but markets are not going to go down meaningfully, and you have to start looking for stock-specific opportunity. And Ajay, personally, I was very lucky to have understood this pharma boom coming in, and fortunately, we could read that very correctly, because pharma as a percentage of the overall market cap had become 2.5%, and it was like a laggard sector. And in this kind of environment, even an average person can tell that pharma sector, because people will look for safety, people will look for protection of their capital, and also demand for drug in general is going to be very, very high. So we were very lucky. So that gave the initial boost in April, May. And then since then, I don't think there is any looking back.
Sure.
Because I am so excited about these markets right now, because we can still see at 13,000 index. Otherwise, you will be very short of idea. I am really short of money. I have too many ideas right now, but there is not enough money as we run the family office.
Madhu, in fact, I think, a point I want to see, the previous cycle's learnings give you confidence and accuracy of attacking the next cycle's opportunities. And you have actually studied the pharma sector 10 years back, 15 years back. So I think those learnings would have come in handy over here. You acted fast, probably.
Exactly. We played the pharma cycle last time from 2009 to 2014, I would say beautifully. Ajay, at that time in 5 years, where the markets went down, the pharma market cap went up from 1 lakh crores to roughly 9-10 lakh crores. It was like a 10 bagger between 2009 and 2014. So that, as you said, we had the experience, and fortunately we got the right time this time.
Sure. I will scratch that point a little more later, because pharma is such a big space. What exactly to look for and what are the opportunities? Without talking stocks, I'll get to you. But Pankaj, the point of liquidity which you made, in fact, if in the last 15 days, the way FI are buying on average 3,000, 4,000 crore is any sign, does it strengthen the point which you're making, or it may be a medium term, you would see it peter out? Because isn't it too much? 4,000 crore almost every day for last 20 days?
See, from a short-term perspective, we can have some reversal of flows on a very short-term basis and all of that. But one thing I fundamentally believed for the last 10 years, some point of time in my career, I used to work with Merrill. And at that point of time, I got a perspective. In India, Ajay, actually, if you look at it fundamentally, we are constrained by our ability to absorb capital. What we get in terms of global capital is just, few drops from an ocean. China, in India, we get 40 odd or 50 odd $billion of FDI, and the economy gets overheated. China gets 5x of that, or 10x of that, 7x of that, every year, and they've been getting that kind of money for the last 20 years. So I think the money that's waiting on the sidelines to get into India is constrained by India's ability to absorb that money. And there's no dearth of money that's wanting to get into India. Also remember the fact that I think when you look at it from a slightly more medium term to longer term horizon over the next 10, 15 years, I don't think so there exists an investment opportunity which is as exciting as India. So probably, I don't think so. Fund flow into India is a constraint. In fact, the constraint is otherwise.
Sure. Ramdev, let's shift focus and talk about the other engine of the market, which this time is humming very nicely, and that is earnings. Second quarter earnings did gave a pleasant surprise to many. How was your reading? Do you see this momentum to gather pace, the earnings side?
Yeah, see, one is that market had deeply corrected. For any bull market to start, you need to have a full correction in the market. So this COVID provided that deepest possible cut in the market. So that sowed the seed for a bull run, because all the weak players, they got kind of driven out, or they booked the profit and went away. So booked the profit or loss, whatever. But they are out of the market. All the weak-hearted people, they are out of the market, and only robust guys with a new face or new money or a lot more confidence are back. So for any bull market to sustain, the clearance sale is very important. For the new offerings to happen, like new set of fresh apparels to come for Diwali, you need to clear the old stock. So that clearance sale has happened from the market. Second, there is a clearly K-shaped recovery in the economy. So what is happening is half the companies are doing very well and half the companies are going down the tube. So clearly the best and the biggest have survived and they have thrived. And not only thrived in terms of winning the businesses from the weaker ones, they have also cut the cost deeply. So the cutting of the cost was a complete surprise to the market, that you can have savings at least for the quarter of 3-4% in the businesses. And that has happened because sales marketing expenditure, which used to go in flying or corporate travel, hotels or conferences, these were all completely eliminated. So clearly, in all the marketing oriented companies, and every company has their own travel and cost. So that has been completely eliminated. So maybe it is not permanent gain, but that has really surprised people. And second is a pent up demand. For first 3-4 months till about July, there was, economy was clearly running at 10-20%, 30%. So all the products, they started being picked up. If you have not bought a car, from August onward, there was a massive pent-up demand. So we knew that pent-up demand is going to come, and but then the pace at which it came, and that happened because of low cost of money, massive liquidity and low cost of liquidity. So there are multiple factors working out there in terms of giving a V-shaped recovery, and V-shaped recovery to the companies which are winning. And then the earnings came, which was a margin expanded, and there was a surprise. So clearly, the earnings, the quality of earnings and the earnings growth for Q2 September quarter has been a clear surprise to me. And in many places like on auto or cement, even the volumes which are coming for September, October has been quite a breathtaking in terms in many cases. So clearly, it's a very, very robust and vicious recovery. And will it? Will the government be smart enough to build on this queue? What is important? This is not going to last on its own. You have to support it, and you have to support it not by monetary. Monetary, you're done. So now the turn is of the government to open the fiscal gates, which they'll be doing today, or in next few months, and the next budget will be there. So my sense is government will build on this particular recovery.
Ramdev, but still, if you talk of the earning estimates, some of the initial, work which is numbers which have poured in, including Motilal, seem to be suggesting that people are building in very decent earnings growth for frontline, as well as their own universe of 200 companies, say average they track 15, 18, 20% for next 3 years, depending on who you're talking about. You think that's a fair estimate?
Last 3-4 years have been very disappointing by all this.
Exactly.
They will start the year with the 25% earnings growth. Then every quarter they'll keep cutting down, and finally it becomes flat. So that has been the situation. But this time it looks, if the government builds on the fiscal, builds on the current recovery, then I think for next 3-4 quarters, I think there will be earnings upgrade in the marketplace. So yes, what they have estimated right now, they might turn out to be even, the earnings might actually turn out to be better than that.
Sure. Madhu, as you said that the frontline index movement may actually mask what is the real thing happening in the market. There are 5,500 companies listed, and some 500 odd companies have above 100 crore PAT. Some 350 have, above 50 crore. And there is the action, a lot of action happening there. You must have spoken to a lot of interesting managements, not talking about companies, But what did they tell you? How did they navigate through? Because there are some very smart entrepreneurs which navigated this entire bad patch also very
So,
smartly, cutting costs, this, that.
Ajay, I want to just add to the question which you asked Pankaj about this FI flow, whether it is going to last, whether it is too much. तो भाई पहले आप ये समझ लो आपको जानना क्या है. आर यू लुकिंग कि ये 7,500 करोड़ का निफ्टी 7,500 वाला निफ्टी 13,000 हो गया है. कैन इट कम टू 12,000? विल देयर बी some dip in the FI inflow? It is entirely possible. And trust me, neither Pankaj, nor Ramdev, nor me, nor Warren Buffett knows actually what is going to happen in the market after 12 months. All and 90% of the time, let me tell you, all the experts have gone wrong. Either we guys have over projected or under projected. Only thing which we can tell you with our experience is what is the direction. So I want to make this point clear. FII or no FII, trust me, ये पैसा आने वाला इधर, and we are in a trajectory wherein you will attract money. If this Nifty falls to 12,000, there will be lot much more quality money which is sitting on the sideline that may come in. So as far as the direction is concerned now, and the other point which I want to mention, Ajay, there is a difference between risk and volatility. Sometimes there is a risk and sometimes it is volatility. So when we know it is a volatility, it should be your friend. And if you can see it is really risk, then it should be your enemy. So I think any fall, in my opinion, will be volatility and it should be your friend. If you're wanting to invest money in the stock market for a long period of time, and if the stock prices fall, you should be feeling happy about it, that it has given you the fall. So I just wanted
Sure. In fact, Madhu, what interesting point you brought forward. In this fall, it is the novice investors and a lot of new investors which actually benefited from it, because the rush of new accounts opening and they bought a clutch of stocks, mainly large cap. So this was one of the times when people actually bought the fall. Retail guys.
But this
really
is the
bought
point.
this.
If we look at it from a historical perspective, we can get excited कि यार 50 लाख नए इन्वेस्टर आ गए. अरे 140 करोड़ आदमी का दोस्त है यार, 50 लाख आदमी आ गए तो क्या हो गया? I am saying it was unfortunate that these people were not participating, and now whatever COVID, lack of work, attractiveness of investing opportunity, lack of other opportunities, these people have come. Now, how do we know that this number will get, it is 50 lakh is too much or it will go to 5 crore? Who can tell us today?
Sure.
Right? So going by our past, we can all get excited that yaar 50 lakh ho gaya, itna euphoria ho gaya, itne sab retail investor aa gaye, it looks like a peak. But only we will know after 4 years whether it was 50 lakh was peak or 50 lakh was bottom. Right?
Sure.
So the question which you asked, see, I am talking to a lot of companies these days, and I really thrive in these kind of markets, you know, so I call them bear market survivor. So Ajay, this bear market is not only Corona. Mid cap और small cap में तो 4 साल से bear market चल रहा है. We peaked out in 2018 and we are in 2021. तो 3-3.5 साल से bear market चल रहा है. And when you talk to many of these guys, they have done incredible work here. And whoever has survived, they are really looking optimistically at their future. So even mid-size companies, they have cut costs beyond what they could think they will be able to do it. And whoever has survived in the game, I think they will make a lot of money. And abhi tak kya hai? The other point is that everyone has made such a big hue and cry about this debt. Sub analyst, पूरा investor call, all media, कोई भी result आता है, debt कितना घटाया? अरे 4% ब्याज है यार, क्यों घटाऊंगा debt? But you know, for 10 years that rhetoric has worked, that you invest in great quality companies which do not have debt, the promoters who do not have debt. For 10 years that worked, and people have got actually used to it. I am telling all my friends, borrow money here and invest. If you can't borrow money at 4-5% interest rate in this kind of market, what kind of entrepreneur you are?
In fact, HPCL management told us that, Mr. Surana of HPCL, when I asked him, you have 28,000 crore debt and you're doing buybacks. So he exactly told me this answer, which you said, that my cost of borrowing is 3.5-4%. So
Ajay, that is what precisely I'm trying to tell. The
Very
debt,
good.
in my opinion, trust my judgment, 6 months down the line, it will not be as bad a word as it is today, as it was 6 months back. So I'm not saying that you go and buy all leverage companies for 5:1 debt equity. No, none of it. If it is debt taken in a right proportion, and if your business profitability is significantly higher, so what I can sense already, a lot of people who are absolutely close to making capex, they are thinking now, I need to put some money to capex, whatever cash flow which we are generating, and if we can get money at 5-6%, there is no harm in putting capex. So maybe you will be at a very early stage of some kind of investment cycle picking up in the private sector. Third important point, Ajay, because of the bankruptcy laws and because of what has happened, you have had 10 lakh crore rupees of bad loans in the system in the last 6-7 years. Lot of that is getting auctioned, and it is getting auctioned at throwaway prices. So there will be tremendous equity value for either these companies who have survived or people who are buying those assets at throwaway prices. And you are seeing a lot of, I don't want to name a specific group, but you're seeing a lot of big industrial groups actually making a lot of acquisition, and it is getting reflected in their stock prices. So all I'm saying, this is all pointing out, you have if you don't invest in equity, what do you do with your money? If you're living in India, ICICI Bank 4% ब्याज देता है, property market में 13 साल से पैसा बना नहीं. Gold is already 5 times higher than what it used to be. People don't want to invest in diamond, नकली diamond आने वाला बोलते हैं. So what do you do with your money? It is not that India has stopped saving money.
True.
And if my competition is 4% annual, I am sure in equity we will make much more money than 4% annually. But
In fact, Madhu, from the Middle East, a lot of investment flows used to go from NRIs of Middle East towards premium real estate in India. But last so many years, the experience has been so bad. I think real asset allocation is happening in the favor of equities in last couple of months.
अजय भाई 13 साल हो गया रियल एस्टेट में पैसा नहीं बना है.
सही
We
बात.
saw the peak of real estate in 2009 and we are in 2021.
Whereas real estate stocks,
the flat which I sold in Sumer building, I visited a friend 3 days back. The price at which I sold in 2008, the prices are still lower than what it used to be in 2008.
So Madhu, I'll come to how your portfolio is positioned, and you've spoken about pharma. I'll come to it a little bit later. Ramdev, where are the opportunities in this market? Where do you think earnings? You called so many sectors right in the past. Some of your favorite have been autos, telecom has been very good one. After going through your research, what sectors look good for 2-3 year run in terms of growth as well as healthy profit growth?
See, if you look at the total corporate profit is spectrum, the largest profit making sectors are actually 4 or 5. Your IT, pharma, consumer, automotive, and private sector banks. These are the 5 sectors which have survived and made significant. Most of the money has been made by these 5-6 sectors. Now, of course, you have to allocate bulk of them here only. And then now one or two sectors which are emerging new, that is private sector insurance. Insurance is a very large industry and very consolidated industry. Unlike, banks are also consolidated, but it can be even more consolidated than banks. And it's a sunrise industry for private sector insurance. So the next 8-10 years could be a very long road for this industry. And it's a very good quality business. It's not risky business like banking. Here it is not lending. Here people give their money, savings in the insurance. So more like asset management company, very, very asset light and very profitable and very highly growing. Prices are reasonable. So I would think that will be one good sector to be not only invest but also overweight in the sector. Then you have cyclicals like automotive, which saw the brunt of demand collapse. Now that's coming back very, very rapidly. Then, one sector where a lot of reforms have happened recently during the COVID time is the agro sector. Government has been putting a lot of money in the rural India, and now with the monsoons, bumper monsoon, you have a lot of agrochemicals and even now fertilizer companies. I mean, government has recently, you might have seen, one of the largest amount of money has been released, 65,000 crores for a one sector in a resource constrained year. So you can imagine how important is that sector. So I think, so like this, you have to find one or two ideas. I mean, if you can get, I mean, since I'm fully invested, if I can get 2-3 incremental ideas in a year, I think it is good enough for me. So that's how I keep looking for one new story. And here I think agro has thrown one or two stories. Auto is really, really very exciting. And then you have the conventional pharma, IT, all those things are already there.
No, quite specific. Insurance has been a beneficiary and people are understanding the importance of insurance. So good growth if numbers are coming in agro. There's a PLI scheme also which has come in. Pankaj, what are you incrementally looking towards in your portfolios and researching? What themes, ideas? You are a mid-cap specialist yourself.
Before I talk about the sectors, Ajay, I just want to make one broader point.
Sure, please go ahead.
I think the next 5 or 10 years that we're going to experience as investors and as businessmen is going to be unlike anything that we have experienced in the last 50, 60 years in the global history. Quantitative easing, which central banks have been doing, is a very recent phenomenon. It's just about 10, 12 years old. Yeah. The last 10 years has been an era where central banks have been pumping money, but governments have been exercising fiscal consolidation. So they've been withdrawing money or they've been exercising fiscal prudence. Irrespective of whether that's right or wrong, now because of COVID, governments have been pushed to the wall. And today what we are seeing, the firepower that's being thrown at economies, businesses and markets is a combination of central bank liquidity and fiscal profligacy, if I may say so, from governments. So the combined power of, loosening of fiscal deficit targets or injection of money by governments through fiscal stimuli and monetary stimuli, I think it's going to be a very deadly combination for financial assets specifically. So I think my view is this bull market that we're going to see, my view is probably it's going to be the most ferocious bull market that I would have seen in my career of last 25 years.
So that's an important point. You mean the gist of what you're saying is that all the viewers who are watching us and people who have interest in investing, this is one of its kind in their lifetime which will come. So make it count. Don't let it go waste, is what you're saying, is it not?
Absolutely, because I don't think so. We have ever had an environment in the last 50 years or 100 years where we've had a combination of, fiscal stimuli and monetary stimuli working together anywhere globally, and especially in the large economies, the G5 economies or G20 economies. But today we have the same thing working across all the G20 economies. So the impact of that, I think all of us, including we as panelists who are bullish, are grossly underestimating the impact that will have on financial assets. So the point, before I get on to sectors, the point I want to make is, doesn't matter. Just buy stocks or buy financial assets, you will do well. Coming to stocks.
Point taken.
Coming to stocks, I feel one thing where India has really reached an inflection point, and I feel very excited about, is I think this whole internet economy in India. I think the internet economy in India is just evolving. It's very nascent, and we've seen globally that the growth in internet businesses is really explosive. You get a J-curve growth if you get it right. Just look at, we all using Zoom as a video app. Yeah, between 1st January of 2020 and until in the first few months of pandemic, so until 30th April, the customer base went 6x in a matter of 4 months. What they could not achieve in 10 years, they achieved in 4 months. I think India's internet economy is just taking shape. This pandemic has accelerated this whole shift to digital economy. So one sector where I would really think investors, there's a potloads of money to be made for investors over the next 15, 20 years in India, is this whole internet economy in India. And I feel really...
So how do you play? Pankaj bhai, the point is that there are only a collection of 5-7 stocks listed, which are really internet plays, which are real internet plays, and they are very expensive. Don't you find them very expensive?
So I think there are about 8-10 of those companies which are listed, but I think there'll be more and more of these companies which will get listed, because as these companies achieve critical mass, they'll need capital, and it's a matter of time before all of them visit public markets. Meaning,
Sure.
both the IT services, I started my career as an IT analyst way back in 97. The IT services sector was still small. Infosys was a mid-cap those times. Meaning, yeah. So a lot of these internet companies are mid-cap, but I don't see any reason why they should not be some of the leading companies of India, large caps over the next 20 years out. Valuations, how does it matter? Go back to 99, 2000, Infosys used to trade 100 PE. A lot of these, this whole internet companies, the valuation matrix has been, the pyramid has been convoluted. If you look at how US companies are valued, the more losses these companies make, the higher they are valued at this point of time. I'm not saying whether that's justified or not, but you look at all of these internet companies, be it the Ubers of the world or the Airbnb. Who could have thought in the worst possible time, where hospitality and the hotels business is the worst impacted, Airbnb is getting IPO'd and investors are falling hand over fist to participate in the IPO. Now, what does it tell you? That their business model is robust enough, they'll survive this crisis. And when you look at their business model from next 15, 20, 30 years, it's a very exciting business. And probably this crisis is an opportunity to buy it at a valuation which is lower than what it would have been before the crisis. So I think valuations might look expensive from a short-term perspective, traditional metrics, but a lot of these investors today are looking at these companies from a slightly more different metrics. I'm not saying that that's justified or not. That's a question where the jury is still out. But I don't think the valuation is a constraint where the best of the growth is yet to come.
Okay, no, fair point. And one can have a slice of that. One may not have a very concentrated part of the portfolio, but a slice of internet in your portfolio can be good. Ramdev spoke about insurance and agro. Madhu, let's talk about pharma. You researched the space so well. You got skin in the game. How do you, if someone is listening to us right now among the viewers who also likes that, what is the right way to play pharma? Because the noise decibel levels on API are very high, but actually some say it is better to have a collection of plays. Aapa kya view hai? How to play pharma sector next 3 to 5 years?
So, Ajay, please put all relevant disclaimer on our behalf, on behalf of Ramdev, because we are all public people, and so this is not a strict advice to be acted upon. It has to be researched on your own. So I would say, when you take a pharma company, a pharma sector, first of all, a section of the market believes that ये pharma में जो तेजी हुआ, it is because of COVID. So let me dispel that first. My understanding is COVID may have added to 10-20% of the profitability, but it is not because COVID के पहले भी pharma companies थी और COVID के बाद भी pharma companies रहने वाली. So that is one. Second, you have to, when you are investing in a pharma company, what I have learned is you have to look at really margin of safety, because you can't buy a very, very expensive company, because when the regulatory challenges will come, you don't know, right? And in the past, whenever people have lost 30, 40, 50, 70% money in any pharma company, it is because of the regulatory challenge. Whether it was a Sun Pharma at some point of time, or whether it was a Ranbaxy at some another point of time, or Ipca Laboratories, they were all very good companies, but because they faced regulatory challenges. So whenever you are working, whether you are working with an API player or a generic player, you have to know what is the track record of this person in handling regulatory challenges. And let me tell you, there has been a little bit of tailwind, because last 8 months, FDA inspectors have not traveled, and there has been a FDA audit in that sense. So we have to be very careful which are the plants which are going to get inspected. So it's not a generic gyan which you can give that you buy X pharma company or Y pharma company. I think it's a very, very interesting subject, and you have to have a detailed understanding of what you are getting. At this point of time, I see no euphoria in the sector, even after such a rise. I think a lot of these profits are sustainable. A lot of the mid-sized pharma companies are also generating a lot of cash, and that is what they are deploying. They're not borrowing money, and they're not over leveraging themselves. So I think there is still an opportunity on a stock specific basis. And that is what my view for the broader market, Ajay, also is, because you asked that question to Ramdev and
Sure.
Pankaj, and I'm sure you will ask me also,
Sure.
that where do we see opportunity? So भाई मेरे बुफे लगा हुआ है, अपने को टिकट मिल गया है, अपने हाथ में प्लेट है, अभी काकड़ी खा के पेट भरना है तो काकड़ी खा के पेट भर ले, or else you have the full choice of what you want to eat. And I am so fortunate, I don't have a problem of Ramdev Agrawal who has to think of investing 40,000 crores. You know, I have a small amount of money, so I can possibly move a lot of companies and I can execute. So if you are an individual investor, and a lot of the chartered accountant friends of mine, they invest their own money. This is a thriving time. You know, the advice of Warren Buffett will be different. The advice of Ramdev Agrawal will be different. You have to do what will suit you. If you are an individual stock picker, go and buy those mid-sized companies which have been bear market survivor, wherever you can get great management and wherever you can see there is execution capability. And wherever you can see that these companies are going to last for 3 to 5 years. When I am investing now, Ajay, I am remembering my days of Reliance Mutual Fund of 2003 and 2005. Companies are really, really available cheap, trust me.
Wow. Madhu, we'll not talk about size of portfolios here. I know you're being humble, so I don't want to embarrass you. But so basically the idea, Madhu, from you is that the सबसे बड़ा risk market में अभी ये है next 3 to 5 year view लेके that you are not adequately participating. That could turn out to be a bigger risk.
रिस्क नहीं लेना सबसे बड़ा रिस्क है.
बड़ा रिस्क हो जाएगा.
अपने बैंक में पैसा अगर रह गया, ये बुल मार्केट बाजू से निकल जाएगा, अपने को लगा अपना पैसा सेफ रह गया, वो 4% ब्याज में कुछ घर में आने वाला नहीं है. तो रिस्क नहीं लेना सबसे बड़ा रिस्क है. You have to take calculated risk
and participate.
And you have to take risk which will suit your appetite. You have to take risk and have a period of time. See, what did I learn? See, we had a 200 bagger, Ajay, from the time we invested in Jindal Steel and Power. We invested at 300 crore market cap, and the market cap went to 70,000 crores at the peak, 60 to 70,000 crores. What is my regret today? I did not buy enough. And I did not hold it for a long period of time as much as the stock deserved to be held. Right?
Madhu, please allow me the liberty to ask you a stock specific question. It will not be about buying or selling, but your learning from Divi's, did you apply them in later cycles?
I am trying to, my friend, which is why I am saying, अभी खरीद के बैठ जाने को है, और खरीद के क्या बैठ जाने को है, ये किसको नहीं पता चलेगा. सब पंडित फेल हो जाएंगे, मैं तेरे को बोल रहा हूँ इस बार. और ये सारे पंडित फेल हो गए. हमारा सबका किसी का बोलती बंद था मार्च अप्रैल में, बॉस. सबका मैं बोल रहा हूँ, बारिंग नन. You know, because none of us could anticipate that the markets are going to come back so fast.
So fast.
And what lies ahead of us now, आपको एक छोटा example देता हूँ. You are looking for opportunity. Government has come and told that we want to give 2 lakh crore rupees of PLI. Right? ये तो मेरा मधु केला का opinion नहीं है. ये तो hard fact. PLI can at best be 5% on a manufacturing. तो 2 lakh crore का PLI के लिए you require 40 lakh crore rupees of turnover.
Correct.
That 40 lakh crore rupees of turnover has to happen in the next 5 years. If this PLI has to get fully exhausted, do you think it got fully discounted by the market, that 40 lakh crore rupees of incremental turnover, which is going to come in 10 sectors? You think?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
You answered yourself, myself.
Barely electronic companies, barely few of them.
I am saying whether it is a raging bull market or we are at the early stage of the bull market. You have answered yourself.
Very good data point. Very good data point. In fact, people are still working on that. Which sector, what kind of PLI, what kind of companies. We are talking to many of these companies. They are still working on it. अभी तो discount ही नहीं हुआ है. Fair point.
And you know, these events which are happening, have you ever heard in my investing career a PSU company buying back their own share? It has not happened in India in the last 70 years. Are you hearing Apple is coming in India in a big way? Has this event happened ever in India? So ये बहुत सारा prediction, अजय, all I'm trying to say ना, बहुत सारा prediction हमको अभी समझेगा नहीं कि क्या होने वाला है. I can only go by my experience, and I can see we are at a very early stage of some of these mid-size and even large-size companies, and there is a lot of potential which lies ahead. And I repeat my sentence: at this point of time, the biggest risk is that you will not take risk.
No, I'm sure a lot of our viewers understand that point. We have all three of you are really driven that point very well, actually, that please do have adequate positioning in the markets. We are setting for next 3 to 5 years of bull run, structural kind of
But
a bull
having
run.
said
Don't
that,
miss
let
this.
me tell you, don't borrow money, still have portfolio allocation and be prepared. कितना भी हम तेजी का बात करके जाएंगे, index can correct 10, 15, 20% for reasons which are completely unknown to us today. So we have to be prepared for that.
Sure. Okay, great. So I'm getting a message, in fact, 5-7 of them. I'll pose one question each with all of you. There's a question coming in from Praveen Kumar asking, sir, is this bull market getting into a bubble territory or some kind of a steeper drop or not? Madhu, you want to take that? People are scared looking at Frontline.
नहीं, I've already taken that. मेरे को तो किधर बबल नहीं दिखता है बस.
Sure.
मुझे तो पानी का भी बबल नहीं दिखता है, पैसे का नहीं. So I think you may have some sectors which are overvalued. And when we talk about learning, I want to talk about one important thing. And with due respect, Ramdev ji is sitting here. See, what always works in the last 10 years. My experience is that over the next 10 years, that will not necessarily work. So what worked for last 10 years is absolute quality, buy at any P multiple, buy only quality companies, and essentially buy companies which do not have debt. Now this is worked as a textbook from 2009 till 2020. I don't know whether this is what is going to work for the next 10 years.
In fact, the point on pharma, really loved the way that day we saw $6 billion worth of purchase from Buffett also coming in for pharma, including some API names. So there's serious allocation towards healthcare happening even globally, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think the wisest man in the world is telling that there is no bubble here.
True. So next question is coming from Amit Pasari. Is there a risk of second wave of COVID? And if it happens, how can it affect the markets? Ramdev ji, can you take that question for us? Is there a risk? Is that a big risk in your view?
Yeah, risk is definitely there in many parts of the world like US, Europe. It is raging. The second wave is raging. Even in Delhi, I believe it is a second round of spike, and Mumbai is still not fully open. So the second round of spike is clearly it's not a apprehension. I'm quite sure there is a very high probability that it could happen. How serious it will be, that is because authorities now know. Most important thing is that now doctors know how to treat that. I mean, how to handle COVID patients. There is an infrastructure available, and people are also, the fear is very low, and doctors know how to treat all the symptoms. So yes, there will be second this thing, and there could be a mild lockdown here and there, but I don't think there is going to be lockdown. I don't think there is going to be a complete shutdown of the economy anymore, and I don't think the fear of COVID is going to spike. See, the markets spook not because of COVID, it is because of fear of COVID. In March 23rd, when actually the lockdown happened, that was the bottom of the market. In fact, day one of the lockdown was the all-time bottom of the market. So it was all fear, and even government succumbed to the fear, and they locked down the country. And what all happened later on. But as the fear subsided, and Corona actually became biggest. I mean, right now we have the highest number of cases all over the world, but the fear is lowest. So it is the fear which drives the market. All the markets in the world are all-time high. And US is literally in the midst of the biggest crisis in Corona, but the markets are all-time high and it's not budging to go down. It's just not going down. So clearly, my sense is yes, there is a good possibility of this thing, but please don't hesitate to invest. In fact, use that opportunity. My chance market becomes fearful, it gives correction. That is a God-sent opportunity for you to enter the market.
Ajay, if I may just add one point on Corona.
Sure, go ahead.
What we have to see is the death rate. We should not monitor only the number of cases. What we have to see, how much more testing is happening, how many more cases are there and what is the mortality rate. So if you see, fortunately, the mortality rate across the world is falling, which means maybe the strength of the virus itself has become weaker, or
Weakening.
as Ramdevji rightly pointed out, doctors and the medical fraternity have understood how to treat this virus.
Sure. Another one coming from Praveen Kumar. Pankaj, I'll ask you to take this one. Praveen is asking, how is India looking right now versus global economy in recovery, etc., for next 2-3 years?
Okay, I'll give a slightly broader answer. Ajay, we have studied, as students of history, we have studied historical timelines in terms of, before Christ and after death. We studied history in that context. I believe COVID and healthcare crisis marks a very significant event for the world, and the world post-COVID is very different. And which is why I would like to split the world into pre-COVID and after COVID. All I can say is, at the end of this COVID crisis, India, on a relative basis, will exit the crisis stronger than what it was or where it was when it entered the crisis. So India will be amongst the few countries to exit the crisis relatively stronger with a much more stable macroeconomic fundamentals than where it was when it entered the crisis on a relative scale. So I think, and the other good thing is, despite the crisis, at least Government of India has done a few structural reforms. So they've continued the journey of structural reforms in terms of what they've done with agri reforms, labor reforms, and so on. My view is, the last 5 years, India's growth has been below potential growth. But I think the next 5 years, not only India's potential growth rate will go higher, but probably India will exceed its potential growth rate. I don't see any reason why, meaning I'm pretty optimistic and hopeful that probably in the next 4 to 5 years, India can actually achieve double-digit growth and sustain that for a long period of time.
Wow, that's very interesting. In fact, yeah, to give the government its due, there indeed has been very good handling, a good combination of RBI and the government in the last couple of months to tackle that. All right,
Ajay, that point needs to be really emphasized. I don't know.
Sure. Madhu, please add your closing comments on
actually
that.
has done an incredible job. If you see last 1.5 years, and finally we are seeing some privatization also happen. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that if we sell a few public sector companies on a strategic basis, we have had reforms that we have been waiting for 70 years. There's no noise about labor reforms. There's no noise about real agriculture reform. There is no noise about the mining reform, which has happened in this period. As I told you, the manufacturing whole sector, I think the government has done quietly but a fantastic job in the last at least 6 to 9 months since the COVID time.
Ramdevji, you want to take a view on that? The way the government very slowly, gradually, but then one after the other, including RBI, tackled this entire crisis?
Yeah, I mean, the monetary response has been fantastic. In the given resource constraint kind of situation, they have been very, very, what I would say, prudent in terms of, I mean, they have been very liberal in the monetary side. And clearly, because of the lockdown, their revenue base was very, very weak. So they were stingy to start with. Then IMF pressure, and when they're seeing the world is gone completely kind of loose in terms of fiscal side. My sense is that in the second half, the fiscal push will be much better. And starting April, that is the next year budget, when they will have the fully recovered economy, hopefully, you will have a lot more fiscal space. So going forward from here, you'll get a lot more help. I mean, the world is awash with the liquidity. India is awash with the liquidity. India is awash with very low cost money. I mean, in 4.5%, you get as much money you want. And AAA corporates are getting it 3.5%. And that's why you see the interest cost has been slashed all across this is unprecedented, I'm telling you. And that is one tonic. That one thing alone, low interest cost and ample liquidity, is a huge boost for all kinds of durables and everything. Now, the moment fiscal thing is opened up, what will happen is government expenditure on the infrastructure will start. So one side, you have the private demand for the housing and real estate and automobile and all. And other side, government will give push on the infrastructure side. These two will generate a lot of demand, and that PLI and other things which are being done. So all put together, there will be massive aggregate demand in the economy. And starting from here, I think we'll see a very good corporate risk, because corporates don't need for investment. They don't need anything. They need they need low cost money and strong demand. In fact, strong demand is more important than even the cost of liquidity. But this time in 21, 22 or next 3-4 years, both are going to, the demand is going to be there and very strong balance sheet will be there. So I think it's a good mixture, explosive mixture, which is building up.
Right. In fact, that point of India getting the bonanza of low crude oil prices and the savings there gets
in fact,
underappreciated.
I'll tell you this, first time after a long time, we have current account surplus, and our forex balance yesterday was $572 billion. Every week it is going up by $4 billion. And the best of the, the biggest of the stimulus is yet to happen. So this stimulus, this forex buildup is going to continue through the next quarter, or at least next 1 year. So my sense is we are in a very, very comfortable situation in terms of crude price, which is sub 50. It may go up, but I think we are in a comfortable situation. And our exports, one of the backbone of export is our software export, which is also booming. So I don't know whether you are aware, but since it is a Middle East chapter of ICAI, India's software export is much bigger than Saudi Arabia's oil export.
My goodness.
Yeah, we export about $150 billion of software this year. Next, it will become 165, 170. So, but Saudi Arabia's oil export, because of the lower oil price, must be closer to 100 or $110 billion, which is 160, 170.
I know that we are running out of time. I want to tell the organizer, if you get 3 bullish people and if you allocate only 40 minutes, the story can happen. So before we close, I will tell you one of the biggest reform happened on Friday when now the RBI is saying that they will give licenses to corporate.
Yes.
Your
NBFCs.
channel only broke this story.
Yes.
And now we are hearing the public sector banks will be sold and all the large size NBFC companies would be given licenses to become a bank. Ajay, my friend, this is what we have been waiting for 70 years. And
Correct.
always remember, India में reform तभी होगा जब crisis होगा. Because we live in a democracy. जब crisis होता है तो कोई political leader कुछ चूजा नहीं करते हैं and the reform goes through very smoothly. And I think the government has really taken note of that and they have pushed so many things. एक हफ्ते का स्ट्राइक नहीं हुआ बॉस पूरे हिंदुस्तान में मिला के इतना बड़ा लेबर रिफॉर्म हो गया और किधर हेडलाइन भी नहीं.
Fair point. You're right. I mean, the way government has worked is, I think it's not factored into the market as you started by saying, "Jo hua hai, wo bazaar mein." If you're looking only at the frontline indices, you're missing the action. It's not even started to get reflected.
But it's unfortunate, na, my friend, that people are still looking for that 1000-point correction. कि अगर फ्लो खत्म हो गया, कुछ हो गया, यूएस में कोई लफड़ा हो गया, 1000 पॉइंट घट जाएगा. अरे जो नहीं आया अंदर उसको तो खुश होना चाहिए यार. 1000 पॉइंट घट जाएगा तो लेने का अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगा ना.
No, I'm sure our viewers today listening to this 1 hour chat would have got a very good brief of what lies ahead. We are in a very early young bull market, and the biggest risk actually would be to not participate in it or participate in a half-hearted manner and then look back and regret later. That's the gist of this very interesting chat, which I loved having with Ramdev, Pankaj and Madhu, and answering the questions. With that, MC, I'm handing it over to you. Thanks so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, the panelists. I'm sure that all the attendees have gained a lot of knowledge and insights from your expertise. We are getting a lot of response and feedback across the globe. We got a feedback right now from Australia, where it's still early morning and they're still watching and listening to you all. So that's the energy and the interest of the Chartered Accountant community across the globe. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking a weekend and sharing your most valuable time with us. Thank you so much, Ajay Sharma, CA Ramdev Agrawal, Mr. Madhu Kela, and CA Pankaj Moraka. Thank you for your time.